word to your mother. It's time for another episode of Birds with Friends. Just a couple of feathery brethren weathering any season to see the Eagles eating teams like bacon, steaks, and cheese. It's Philadelphia. Bo and Sheil in the cut, kicking it cooler than two penguins. Still Bo's old arch nemesis. Greg Cosell shows up and it gets real. Pull up a branch and chill. It's time to get ill with some Birds with Friends. The early bird skips the worm and prefers getting turned like a turn on some Birds with Friends. Bo, Wulf, and Sheil, Kapadia coming at you with stats and things flapping their wings.
The Eagles are Super Bowl champions.
I'm gonna get drunk.
Where them beers? All bottles on Mr. Lurie tonight. Damn, that's gonna make me throw up.
What was it like to have Bradley Cooper in the booth?
We the best. No one could have got me a Caprice.
Where's the ball security? Touchdown, Tom. Loser. Nick Foles never lost a Super Bowl.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Birds with Friends on a Tuesday night. And a little throwback intro as we prepare for the Eagles to play Tom Brady for the first time in a non-preseason game since the Super Bowl. Bo Wulf, Zach Berman, Marissa Morris, Sheil Kapadia coming at you. We've got a short week. That means a double dose of an episode. We will look back at what happened against the Carolina Panthers, a little Squall 22 with Mr. Kapadia. We will have some news from Zach Berman. I know that there is some Noah Tongi news that we need to get to probably off the top. And then we will preview Thursday night's game against the Bucs. We've got Swooper Soarcasting, our crystal ball Eagle predictions. Everybody wants to know, Sheil, how you doing? Have you? When's the last caprese that you've had?
Well, I didn't even recognize my voice there. I feel like, has my voice changed since the Super? I don't know. I felt like that was me as a little kid. Now I'm a man. I'm 40. I can't wait. The only thing I'm looking forward to about being 40 in a couple of years is just being able to wake up and yell that and say it the entire day. But the big news, of course, this week is the post-game pod. I have to get my promos in here. Now we got the Instagram is fine. The post-game pod, a reminder how it will work. Nick Ciriani will take the podium after the game. As soon as he's finished, Marissa and I will be live in this YouTube channel. We'll be breaking down the game, offering some spicy takes, and we're going to need your viewer questions so that we can direct this thing in a certain way. And then Bo and ZB will join us, and I'll go to bed after that.
Do you think you guys?
It's a big event.
Do you want to keep
around 12 midnight? We think around midnight.
Go right after Ciriani, or do you want to wait in case, it's a big game for Jalen Hurts and he can talk, and then you just sort of play it by ear? You're just going to go straight to Ciriani?
No. The crowd can tell us if Jalen Hurts says that he's coffee grounds or whatever. They can fill us in on that. We'll be fine there. I don't think you want to wait too long. I think for this to work, you have to have the game end. And then everyone's like, well, should I go to bed or do I need to, talk about this game a little bit more rather than turning on maybe a post-game show? We want to be that post-game show for you. So don't forget about that.
Now, this is big news, of course, for Zach, because it means he's not going to have to do the pod at about 4 a.m. Zach, how are you?
I'm doing well. Excited for this pod. I will say, you as a podcast co-host, I try to be like a quarterback. You don't want the pulse to get above 60, right? But when I heard that new intro, I was worried that I'd been removed from the podcast, right? That there was perhaps my Swooper Soarcasting performance persuaded Bo to just kick me off the set like Survivor. So I was worried about that. And then I realized when I heard the Nick Foles part that it was a throwback to playing Tom Brady. So I understood that, but for a second there, I was worried about my status on the podcast.
Worried or excited?
I look forward to this. Right?
Okay.
This is a perk of the job.
Now, Zach, here's a question for you. Longtime listeners have heard that post Super Bowl pod. I think it's some people have maybe listened to it once or twice. But what was your Super Bowl night like?
I mean, I was writing. Yeah, I was writing. This sounds kind of cheesy. But when I was growing up, I would go to a breakfast place with my father, and they had the Philadelphia Inquirer from the 1980 World Series there, right? And so throughout that week, like I was up at night thinking, I'm writing the game story, win or lose, that is going to be, it's going to be part of Philadelphia history. It's the paper of record in Philadelphia. So I filed my running at the gun for that's journalism jargon for I filed my story at the end of the game when the clock hit 0. And then I went down and I was collecting all types of nuggets. So those videos that Sheil and you were taking, Bo, I was in them talking to players, and then I rewrote for the final edition, for the web edition. So I was writing until really late, and then I went back to my hotel and I wrote rest in peace now early birds. That's no longer a thing, but my newsletter that I had brought to the Inquirer, I wrote that, and that went out at 6 a.m. the next morning. So I was doing a lot of writing that night.
And as your head hit the pillow, you thought to yourself, I wonder if there's a book in here.
Well, that wasn't when my head hit the pillow. That was I was in the Minnesota airport the next day, and Matt Gelb, our colleague now at The Athletic, sends me a text and says, "So you're writing a book on this, right?" And he had been ruminating, but that was the shove I needed to get rolling on it.
There you go. And Marissa, we don't need to get too much into this, but in the interest of getting everybody involved here, big weekend for you, and the fact that the Eagles have a Thursday night game, very huge for the Morris brand.
Yeah. So I planned my bachelorette weekend around the Eagles Thursday night and the Jets bye weekend. So that's where I'm at. But yes,
true sicko behavior.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll tell the grandkids about that one day.
Yeah, and the Bills play Monday night too. So yeah, so I'm actually off on Sundays, so I get to actually tailgate for the Browns game with all my cousins. They're all buying bridesmaids, a Jersey Italian family. My cousins are my best friends. So should be a very interesting and fun weekend in Cleveland.
Yeah, more cousins than ZB has siblings.
Yeah. My mom's one of 6, so.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the news of the day, Zach, and the news of the week. What is going on in your neck of the woods as we send it over to the stone cold newsman, Zach Berman, on the scene?
Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert was placed on the COVID-19 reserve list on Tuesday. That means Goedert would need to be symptom-free and have 2 negative tests 24 hours apart in order to be cleared. Considering the Eagles play on Thursday, it looks like a strong possibility that they will be without Dallas Goedert this week, and that makes Zach Ertz the number 1 tight end. And perhaps there's a practice squad elevation because the Eagles brought Noah Tongiai onto the practice squad, the former training camp standout.
For those of you who are wondering on the over-under.
Tongiai returns. And a bigger practice squad news is the Eagles released Travis Fulgham. Remember last October, Fulgham was the Eagles sensation. The number 1 wide receiver was the top receiver statistically going into the bye week for the Eagles in a 4-week period. Now he's no longer on the Eagles practice squad. The Eagles released him from the practice squad. He is with the Miami Dolphins practice squad. I believe that happened today. So those are your big news in terms of transactions. We don't need to get into the other practice squad items, but also of note, Derek Barnett has an ankle injury. The Eagles have walkthroughs this week. So there's not a full practice report, but the estimation, if they had practiced yesterday, he would not have practiced. If they practiced today, he would be limited. So that's the big injury to monitor. Lane Johnson remains absent from the team because of a personal matter. Nick Ciriani said on Monday that he's hopeful that Lane Johnson returns this season, but there's no information as to when Lane Johnson will return. I think it's a fair assumption that they will play their third game without Lane Johnson this week.
Jason Kelsey said today that Lane Johnson came to the facility last week. He got to meet with him, and he sort of waxed poetic about how much Lane means to him and to the offensive line room as a person, as a player, but he wouldn't really get into anything about what's going on or whether he expects him back this season. Zach, on the Goddard front, this is a big thing for you because Avonte Maddox, they're housemates. They live together. Now Maddox was in a mask at practice today. I don't know if you noticed that. I presume he is a close contact to Dallas Goedert, but that obviously means he hasn't tested positive yet. So just another extra little variable here as the Eagles prepare for a short week.
Sure, and it's the benefit of being vaccinated. I mean, it's one of the many benefits of being vaccinated, but an unvaccinated player who is deemed a close contact would be restricted from participation, right? So this is, from a football perspective, a benefit of being vaccinated. The Dallas Goedert news is interesting, of course, because if the Eagles are playing without him, they already had a truncated period to put a game plan together. So now there's even less of a period where you're preparing without Goddard. I imagine heavy 11 personnel. Zach Ertz is the number one tight end. And like we discussed on the previous podcast, if you are thinking there's still a chance that the Eagles could trade Zach Ertz, and our national reporter senior national reporter, could tell us that the Arizona Cardinals are in need of a tight end now.
Senior national writer, right? Is that?
Yes, senior national writer. This is a chance for the Eagles to perhaps showcase Zach Ertz and show that he could still be a top-level tight end.
Well, I think that's right. I didn't know if you were going to jump in, Sheil, but I think that's right. And I also I don't think this changes the game plan very much. Like it's a bummer to be without one of your better players, but the Eagles are already playing mostly 11 personnel and not a lot of 2 and 3 tight end sets. So it just means less rotating. It's really it's sort of fine in terms of figuring out what they're going to do offensively. It doesn't really change that. I think it just means Ertz gets to play a lot.
Did anyone say anything interesting this week? Nick Ciriani? Did the coordinators talk?
Is this a lead up to a drop or something?
No. I was thinking that I'm much more interested, in what if people said if you had to, let's say you had this agreement with WIP and they're like, hey, every week can you just tell us the 3 most it will pay you, and just tell us the 3 most interesting things that were said at the pressers so that we can use them as talking points. That to me would be more interesting than Noe Tangiai.
Noah Tangiai.
I think there's a chance the Eagles brought back Noah Tangiai because they were hoping it was going to be a reset button, that by bringing him back, it was just going to send them back to September of last year and maybe things would turn out differently, but it didn't work.
But to answer your question, Sheil, I thought it was interesting. Jonathan Gannon rectified his statement from last week. He said, of course, they have a scheme, right? But what he means by the no scheme thing, and he always thought this when he was a position coach, when he would become a coordinator, that you would build your scheme based on the players you have in the building and the players on the other team that week. So his example was if Tom Brady's your quarterback, you can't come in and say, we're running a West Coast offense. You run the offense that fits Tom Brady. So his point was that he wants to have a defense that can adjust on a given week. And that's what he means by he doesn't have a scheme.
Well, of course, saying I don't have a scheme and also saying we're not a dime team is conflicting. So pick one or the other. Sorry, go ahead, Sheil.
Now, what did you make of the, was it an Inquirer report that said Nick Sirianni sort of, went into the defensive meeting room and let everybody have it? Was it? The report? Well, yeah.
Well, no. So Nick Sirianni said. So Nick Sirianni said at the beginning of the week, right? He said last Monday that there were
tough conversations.
That there were tough conversations in the defensive meeting room, and then Jonathan Gannon said the next day that he didn't think it was anything abnormal for when your team loses that kind of thing. Nick Sirianni is a fiery guy. He has, I don't want to say he has a temper because that would have a negative connotation, but he's not one of these guys who the pulse stays at 60, to use the expression that someone used about Jalen Hurts, right? So now the Inquirer report by Marcus Hayes was that there was a scolding of Jonathan Gannon, but I mean, I'm not a coach. My understanding is that you put a bunch of football guys in a room, right? They're not.
No, that's right.
They're not using what I would tell my kids indoor voices tonight, right? They're talking like football coaches talk.
Well, it is interesting, at least, that they did change things up a little bit defensively last week. Just some of the numbers. They blitzed 21% of the time. It had been 10% through the first 4 weeks. They played 22 snaps of single high coverage. They averaged about 12 snaps per game of single high coverages during the first 4 weeks. So I don't want to overdo it and say, wow, they totally changed things up. And look at these wrinkles they throw at the Panthers. So I don't think that was the case. I think the foundation stuff was still the same, but there certainly was it was a little less vanilla, and there was a little more variety to the game plan against the Panthers than there had been the previous week.
They also had Slay and Nelson switching sides a little bit. Darius Slay following DJ Moore. So there were, and it seemed like, at least anecdotally, there were much more sort of games up front with the defensive line. So it did seem like they made some adjustments. Now, part of that might have been just because they were going up against a defense and a guy that they thought they could turn the ball over against. And so you try more things, but they definitely did play differently defensively.
Do you think Jonathan Gannon went into the offensive meeting room this week?
That's what I was going to say. I almost asked Gannon that this morning, this afternoon, but
you should have. He would have laughed. He would. He's not a robot. He would have laughed.
He would have punched you in the face.
I think anything. Kelsey's good as always, but I guess there was nothing much newsworthy outside of the lane stuff. So
now, so we've discussed this in the past. And Kelsey's discussed it he discusses it every year, it seems like. But Kelsey's one of the rare players who
loves a Thursday night game. He's been saying it for a decade.
Exactly.
Yeah, clip out that thing and tweet it again.
He's just had to repeat his same answers for 10 years on every single topic like this.
But so he doesn't play into the question was how hard it is to prepare for the Thursday night game. And he gives, well, I've told you guys before, I love a Thursday night game, right? So now we also had this conversation in the past. Doug Peterson famously, or I shouldn't say famously, as we know, undefeated on
among
Thursday.
everybody
knows.
Yeah. And I would ask Doug about this repeatedly. And Doug always said, he simplifies things. He just calls his best plays.
And then of course his wife would ask him, why don't you do that every week?
Yeah, exactly. And not just his wife. We would say that too, right? Like if it works every year on Thursday night, maybe you overcomplicate things when you have 7 days to prepare. So
once again,
it's
you and Dougie P's wife on the same page as always.
I don't know what the joke is there, but
neither do I.
That should probably be a Soarcasting. Will Nick Ciriani talk about how he simplified the game plan? But that would be in the course of a win, and I don't know that we're going to worry about that, but maybe we will.
Yeah, so Jonathan Gannon was talking about preparing for the Thursday night game, and he said, there's all these coverages he wants to put in, but then he's like, they don't have any practice time to do it, so you just got to go with what you know.
And speaking of
coverages, does he want to put in?
Yeah.
Cover 2?
Yeah.
Speaking of Soarcasting, by the way, if you are in the chat, make sure that you submit your Soarcasting ideas. We will take 3 from the chat for the end of the show. All right, why don't we take an early break, which is rare for us, before we transition to getting into the Squall 22, sort of a natural breakup of the segments. We'll be back on the other side.
We're all trying to eat better, but healthy breakfast doesn't have to be boring. Magic Spoon has the amazing flavors you love, but without all the bad stuff. 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving. Only 140 calories a serving. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low-carb. Build your own box. Available flavors to build your very own custom bundle are cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, blueberry, cinnamon, cookies and cream, and maple waffle, my favorite. So, go to magicspoon.com/birds to grab a custom bundle of cereal and try it today. And be sure to use our promo code BIRDS at checkout to save $5 off your first order. Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they will refund your money, no questions asked. Remember, get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/birds and use the code BIRDS to save $5 off. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this episode.
Look, no one's perfect. Even the best baseball players strike out with bases loaded. The best golfers sometimes 3-putt with the tournament on the line. So if you feel like you come up short in the bedroom sometimes, it's perfectly okay. But if it's bothering you, there are options. Go to GetRoman.com/BWF now. With Roman, you can get free online evaluation and ongoing care for ED, all from the comfort and privacy of your home. A U.S. licensed healthcare professional will work with you to find the best treatment plan. If medication is appropriate, it ships to you free with 2-day shipping. The whole process is straightforward and discreet. And getting started is simple. Just go to GetRoman.com/BWF and complete an online visit. Take care of your ED without leaving home. Complete an online visit today to connect with a U.S. licensed healthcare professional and take care of it. Go to GetRoman.com/BWF now to get $15 off your first month. Look, there's a straightforward way to take care of your ED. GetRoman.com/BWF. Get started now to save $15 on your first month of treatment.
All right, back on Birds with Friends as we pivot to the Squall 22 to look back at the Eagles' win over the Panthers. And Sheil, you sort of teased this on Twitter beforehand, and I think it's the sort of same takeaway that some of us had on the post-game pod. I think Greg Rosenthal tweeted about this as well. But this team is turning us into concussion uncles. Run the damn ball. Is that fair to say?
No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that that's my take. My take is that I don't understand how you get into the 13th possession of Week 5 before it feels like Jalen Hurts is a factor in the designed run game. I'm including
that, but that's
yeah. But I wouldn't say I don't know about like the overall balance and ratio. That's not to me what it is about. But it is that
no, of course not. Sorry.
When you run the ball, Jalen Hurts should be a big part of it, and it can solve a lot of your problems situationally, short yardage, red zone. I mean, we were talking about this back in the spring, in the summer. It feels like after every game, and then you look at this game, and they get late in this game, and all of a sudden he's pulling the ball, and there are these wide open gaps. I mean, he doesn't need to. I think I probably overrated maybe how fast he was. He's not like a burner like some of these holes you see. And if it were, Lamar Jackson or, maybe even your boy Daniel Jones, I don't know, they would turn these into like huge gains because the holes are that big. That's not really what he's been doing on these, but he's still a very tough runner. He'll almost, he doesn't sort of need to slide, it feels like, when he's one-on-one with like a DB. He can kind of just fall forward and maybe pick up an extra couple yards before he goes down. And so you saw that in the fourth quarter of that game. You saw it on the touchdown run. I mean, how has that just not been a go-to standard foundational play? I know there are ways to defend it, but there's a reason why it's like a fundamentally sound scheme is to just run a zone read or have a tight end run over there and block if you're going to have it designed for him to just keep the ball. And how about the run game after those possessions? I mean, the final couple possessions, all of a sudden they're really gashing the Panthers even when he's handing it off. Is it coincidence that the defense had to think about, well, wait, is he going to keep it on these? Is he not going to keep it on these? Do we have to account for him as a runner on these? I don't think it's coincidence. It seemed to be pretty obvious to me. And so it's just, a bit annoying and frustrating and concerning to me that when you have a coaching staff that spent all offseason saying, we're going to build the scheme to the strengths of the players, we're going to build the scheme to the strengths of the players, and anybody, like me, who, you don't have to have a master's degree in the X's and O's of football to look at Jalen Hurts' skill set and say, well, that's got to be a big part of what you do if you're talking about maximizing your success on offense, is that him as a part of the run game has to be a big part of that. Again, I'm not saying you need to run the ball 40 times. I'm saying as part of your staple plays, when you do run the ball, this needs to be a part of it situationally. It can help you. And so I just don't get it. Like I was like, wait, it's week 5. It is their 13th possession of the game. Was it in the game plan? Did they adjust to it? Did somebody say on the sideline, hey, Hassan Reddick is crashing on Miles Sanders every single time. Let's just, maybe Jalen Hurts should keep this. I mean, you remember even in the past, I would say with Carson Wentz, it's a good idea to just do this once early in the game to slow down those defensive ends and have them thinking about it. And so that was a big takeaway. Let's see what they do here going forward. Let's see if it's a big part of the game plan Thursday. But like, I don't want to say red flag, but it's pretty, we've talked about it, I feel like, in bits and pieces, but to get this far for an offense that's really struggled in stretches, and for now to finally be thinking, well, maybe we should do this a little bit more, that's an issue to me.
It doesn't make any sense. I mean, personnel wise, this is the advantage they have been gifted, and they are just totally looking away from it. It doesn't make any sense. And this is sort of rudimentary, but there's no team in the league that is like the Eagles in terms of how well they're running the ball and how infrequently they're running the ball, presuming that they are not also good at passing the ball. I know that's a lot of caveats, but so the Eagles are 4th in run DVOA, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is a little bit of a surprise because it doesn't seem
I think
like
a lot of those are hurt scrambles.
And I think
probably.
Right, and I think they are. So,
which is why he should scramble more,
and not even scramble more, because he
or just run more.
He hasn't even had that many big scrambles. There have been a few in like 2-minute drill situations where he's picked up big plays. I feel like most of his runs have been designed runs, and they haven't run them enough. So they're 4th in run DVOA, 21st in pass DVOA. That seems like what you would expect, right? Given what we've seen, and they're 7th in neutral situations pass frequency. That's what I would actually have thought they might have been even higher than that. But the teams ahead of them, Cleveland, 1st in run DVOA, like, bottom 6 in pass.
You don't have that O-line. Am I right, Marissa? Whew.
That's for sure.
Gashing the Chargers.
This shocked me, but Jacksonville is 2nd in run DVOA, and they're like 30th in pass DVOA. So they run the ball a lot.
Dallas, 250.
Yeah,
right?
they're trying to get
they're
250, 250. I was going to say.
Which they have never gotten in their franchise's
focused.
history.
Yeah, they're
happens incredibly rarely. And also, by the way, somebody looked up, Urban Meyer never did, even in college. Isn't that insane? We don't have to go through this whole thing.
He said it so confidently too.
It just
Dude,
totally
he doesn't
made
know
it,
what's going on. I mean, I've never seen an NFL.
The Chargers hire Brandon Staley, and he's like talking like a normal person who understands everything that's going on. And Urban Meyer is coming in with like just these ideas from 19. We don't have to go through this whole thing. The point is that teams are either really good at running and really good at passing, and they pass more frequently, or they're much better at running than passing, and so they run it more frequently. And the Eagles are not doing that. And I'm not saying like hand the ball off to Miles Sanders, but like you can't even. I don't want every game to be a decision on whether Jalen Hurts is the guy or whether Nick Sirianni is the guy, but you can't really even properly evaluate whether Jalen Hurts should be the guy if you're not building the offense the way that it would make him most successful.
Yeah,
I mean,
my read.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I said this in the media house today. I'll say it on the podcast. It's as if they're running the Phillip Rivers offense with RPOs added into it, right? Like they just took the offense that Nick and Shane have run in the past, and they're like, all right, instead of called runs, we'll make them RPOs. But there's a lot of just dropping into the pocket. They don't move the pocket as much. There's a lot of timing routes, right? Like things that I wouldn't say are necessarily Jalen Hurts' strength. If you created an offense from scratch, I should say, for your quarterback, it wouldn't be the offense that they've mostly run in 5 games this season.
Yeah, and they have they have an offensive line coach who has experience running pretty much every type of run scheme. They have an offensive line who, multiple players were on this line when they were playing with Chip Kelly. But even then, I mean, that was a lot of zone read, but like QB power, QB sweeps. Have they run a quarterback draw all season?
No,
I mean, that's not even in the same family. I think that's like the most underused play in the NFL is a quarterback draw. Like really, like 3rd and 3 QB draw. Like, it's safe. At the worst, you're probably going to pick up 1 or 2 yards. And so you just haven't seen any of that creativity. Zach is correct. I mean, if they would have had, it's almost like, I don't even know who the quarterback would be, but yeah, it's like their type of quarterback. That's what this offense is built for, not for this specific quarterback. And I don't understand that at all. I mean, we can get to some of the positives, but it was the worst offensive performance of any team in week 5. If you just look at EPA per play, 5 first downs on the first 11 possessions that, normally in a game, you only have 11 possessions. So think about if we were, if the defense doesn't make some plays and you have your first 11 possessions in that game and you have 5 first downs the entire game. I mean, really, that's what we could be talking about if some of these things out of their control, did not kind of go their way. They end up having 15 possessions in this game and they make some plays there at the end. But it's just very, I think, at least I'll have to speak for myself personally, but I think there are Eagles fans who felt this way, that at least this year you felt like there was going to be a freshness to it, a fun factor to it, where it was going to be a little bit different because you had a different coaching staff and you had a quarterback who could be fun. And it just doesn't seem like that's the case. You're watching this offense going, even on the couple of weeks where it's clicked. I mean, I guess this is a little bit results oriented. Those couple games, I guess they were a little more fun, but no one would watch this offense and say, wow, look at the creativity that they're bringing to the table on a weekly basis.
And just one extra thing, like Jalen Hurts is he doesn't, unlike Carson Wentz, he's good at avoiding hits. Like he does a good job when he's running, not taking hits. So there's really, generally speaking, maybe you don't want your quarterback taking a ton of hits, but he is not necessarily the guy to worry about on that front. I was thinking also about this game from like a coverage standpoint from our perspective. And how
the previous game?
Which game?
The previous game, the Panthers game. And
how but okay.
If this was the situation where like being in the locker room, I think would have made a huge difference in the way we covered it. Because like, for instance, the punt block by TJ Edwards, like, if we were in the locker room, I feel like, that's something you really, focus on. Like you get the stories behind it. We can get, there's sort of a removal without being in the locker room. So everything becomes big picture and you don't necessarily get to go all the way in and get like the feeling of the guys in the locker room. And like, that's an enormous play. Like that was a game that was in the balance and they thought they weren't going to win. And then like a punt block is the thing that turns it. Like, that's awesome. That's cool for TJ Edwards and Sean Bradley. Like that's a great story. And it's a great little
Michael
story
Clay.
to tell.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, because it's just podiums and this is not anybody's fault, but it's just sort of, I was thinking about that the day after how it sort of changes the way that we cover the games because you don't get that same insight.
I was thinking about this recently too. It's harder to find players, as likable and feel like a fan. You have a connection with them, whether that's a real thing or not. But when you're sort of this is an interesting, look at what this guy said, or I didn't know this story, or here's the backstory of why they're doing this weird thing on the sideline or in the huddle. Like those little morsels make a fan either like a player or not like a player. And you just, something I was just watching this game and rewatching it today. I'm just like, you're kind of like bored with it. You're just like, all right, here we go again. It's the 11th possession of the game. They've gone 3 and out like 8 times.
Oh my God.
The other,
I was thinking about it in terms of like, to Bo's point and to your point too, Sheil, like Darius Slay, he has this 2 interception performance, like a huge interception. As we said in the post game pod, comes during a week when his wife gave birth. He wasn't really at the facility as much. Like in a locker room setting, you get he's a colorful guy. You'd really be able to like humanize him. Instead, he's on a podium. So it's one question about the week that he had. And then it's like him tracking DJ Moore. And then it's him,
right.
Like state of the defense. What did you say to Jalen Hurts? Right. It's very disjointed. And Slay has the type of personality, I imagine, that like you could really get that type of colorful information.
Well, you think back to like the way that we think of Nigel Bradham because we got to cover him in the locker room for so many years.
If you put him on a podium,
if it was just him on the podium, we'd have no thought about Nigel Bradham.
You're right.
So.
You're absolutely right.
Any other thoughts on the offense, Sheil?
Well, I thought the offensive line, this was like easily the worst game of the season. I mean, Jack Driscoll, I thought had a tough game. Landon Dickerson when did he go out of the game?
I think the last 2 drives he was out.
Okay, because you could see the play. He got smoked, and he like grabbed his ankle
Mhm.
during a play. But then he played the next play at least, and like got beat on that play. And then I couldn't remember if he came back in the game or not. So and that's moving it forward here too. Dickerson and Driscoll against the interior of the Bucs offensive line.
Yeah.
Like Zach was just saying about moving. Like this is, again, you have to be moving the pocket. Like Jalen Hurts should not just be dropping back and passing from there. That will be an absolute disaster for this team. So I thought, Mailata, he gives up those back-to-back sacks. I don't think he was like a overall disaster, but I mean, if you're giving up back-to-back sacks in a possession, that's not a great place to be. He also had a holding call later. Dillard, I thought, played well. I don't think it was perfect. I don't know if it was PFF or what stats I saw being circulated about, he didn't give up anything or shut them out. I don't think that was the case. I certainly think he gave up some pressures, but I thought he played well, and Kelsey was fine. But I did think, I feel like I'm normally the guy saying the offensive line didn't play as poorly as it seemed. And I feel like it was the opposite in this game, where it wasn't really mentioned that the offensive line was part of, I thought, a lot of the struggles that they had.
And also probably the best pass rush that they've gone against this season.
Yeah. Well, for now, maybe not after Thursday.
Right.
Tight end. There's a very simple answer to this, which we've talked about before, and his name is JJ Arcega-Whiteside. They had a bootleg in this game where I think JJ Arcega-Whiteside was lined up like in the slot, and he had to sort of pin or seal Brian Bird so that Jalen Hurts could get out to the right. I mean, he did it better than like most of their tight ends have done over the years. If he's going to be in there as a blocker, I don't understand why you can't just move this guy to tight end. Obviously, he's not getting on the field as a wide receiver. When he's on the field, it's to be a blocker. And I think he can maybe do some of those things. So I would really, I don't know if we've joked about it before, said it in jest, but I actually think it's something that they should attempt to do. I don't know if you can do it mid-season. I don't know if they've tried it with him. I feel like a lot of this stuff he's probably already had to do. But I don't know. That seems to me like it should be an option.
I like it.
13 personnel and flexing Jack Stoll out.
Yeah. I tweeted these numbers. I don't know. If
I know you were mad about that one live, right?
I was mad about that one live. So they have run, let me pull it up. They have run 11 plays this year in 13 personnel on first and second down, not including kneels. And they're averaging 1.7 yards per play on those 11 plays. And they have only achieved 1 first down on those 11 plays. They're like 4 of them have been negative plays. It's just throw it out. Just stop doing it.
There's really no, I mean, when it was Jack Stoll being flexed out too, I'm like, oh, what in the world is happening here? I think somebody just say to like, when that play goes in, someone be like, Nick, I think we might be overthinking this one. Maybe, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, maybe we just keep those guys on the field for this one.
Let's just treat it like a Thursday, right?
Right.
What's that?
Let's just treat it like a Thursday game.
Yes.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
These are the 3 things I want to see from the Eagles offense. Run the ball more with Jalen Hurts, like more of the quarterback inclusive run game. I want more Quez Watkins, like he should be on the field much more of a higher percentage. And then like I don't really
high percentage though last week.
It was high percent, and he was the first time he outsnapped Rager. And my other thing, I don't ever want to see any skill position players on the field who are not one of the top 3 receivers, the top 2 tight ends, or the top 2 running backs. Just those 7 guys, that's all you need. Rotate them through. Let's go.
Okay, I would agree with that.
That's all.
I would say, like, I would have a certain amount. Like, I would, back when Alshon Jeffrey came in, Frank Reich was saying they have what he would call 17 plays, right? Plays on the play sheet for Alshon Jeffrey, and they make sure that they will call 17 plays. Now, this was when Alshon was good, but he wasn't as good as I expected him to be. But I remember going into that week 1 game, that was a big thing. They are going to feed Alshon Jeffrey. I would have that with Devontae Smith. Like if Devontae Smith
and Quez Watkins, I think it's worth it.
But I just think Devontae Smith needs far more volume than he's been getting.
I agree
I
with
would
that.
agree. Yes.
I think about the end of the half against Kansas City, right? And
Yeah.
they just threw to him 3 straight
yeah.
times. And it was like, I don't even know if it was designed. It was just throw it to Devontae. Like, I would say coming out of the game, Devontae needs X amount of targets. And if he doesn't get X amount of targets, then the coaches or the quarterback aren't doing his job. It's not Devontae who's not
I agree
doing
with
his
that.
job. Like, get Devontae the ball.
I think you're right. Yeah, I mean, you could even see it this week, like just even the simple comeback routes near the sideline. I mean, they have to respect him getting over the top, that he's creating separation and is like open on those. Those should be, relatively easy pitch and catches, and then you can, set up some double moves off of that. So I would agree with that. And yeah, I mean, Quest Watkins, every time they run something for him, it seems like good things are happening. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of plays where it seems like he's confused and doesn't know where to go. So he's clearly one of your more talented players that he needs to definitely get the ball more. I mean, I am wondering, like, one of our worst takes, I think we all sort of agreed on this, was that the wide receivers will be better coached this year because of Nick Sirianni's background. I mean, are they coaching the wide receivers?
It's crazy.
How many touchdowns are we up to?
5
that have been taken off the board.
Well,
I think it's more, isn't it? Like, how many touchdowns have been taken in the
5
last 2
touchdowns
weeks?
have been taken off the board.
5 touchdowns? I mean, I don't
Not
know
the last
what
2 weeks, the whole
league
season.
average is, but it's unbelievable. But
it's been 2 with pick plays. It's been 2 with pick plays and 2 with illegal touching. Right?
Exactly.
So, like, repeat penalties.
Exactly. And it's if you're Nick Sirianni, don't you grab the official like before we got called on this last week. Like, we're going to be running some of these, just like, here's how we're coaching the guys.
Famously doesn't want to argue with the officials. Like, let's go, Nick.
Oh, is that a thing? Is that famous?
Well,
I don't know.
it's
That's not famous to me. I don't know anything about that.
He's always being like, they've got a really tough job. I would never get on them. But you're right.
I would
use that to butter him up a little bit.
I would say the opposite to Sheil. I would say, like, before Greg Ward goes on the field, I'd say, Greg, whatever you do, don't go near a penalty here, right? Like don't even give the official any thought on this. If he runs by you, just don't make this play nullified.
Well, and also, what is Greg Ward doing on the field if he can't get that right? Like, you know what I mean?
But how are they coaching it? I mean, do they know the rules? Because it is, it can be confusing.
Do they know the rules is a good question, given off of what happened with Miles Sanders.
That's what I'm saying. So that's
what
why
happened with Sean Bradley.
You walk out on the field, you say hello to the official, you call them by their name, you butter them up a little bit. Jerome, was it Jerome Boga? I don't know who their official was. And you say, hey, I just want to make sure about this because we got dinged for it before. I think you can even do this stuff like during the week, call the league. Hey, we got screwed for this. Just want to make sure we're getting it right going forward. I don't know if they're doing that or not, but it does. You can't say just don't get in the guy's way because, like, the point of the play, you have to get in the guy's way for it to be an effective play. But you have to, whether it's turning back for the ball. I know Zach Ertz always seems to just turn around and put his hands up.
Exactly.
Like if you're looking back at the quarterback with your hands up, then you're probably not going to be called for the penalty. So that's just what, one thing I was just laughing, like the wide receivers are
that's crazy.
They're taking points off the board.
You got to be like when you played basketball growing up, and you had 4 fouls, right? You would always you'd go over the top. Like if a guy was driving on you, you back up, right?
Oh, I never had 4 fouls. That requires playing defense. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I didn't have a lot of quickness, so I had 4 fouls a lot. I was a big reacher.
Oh yeah, I would reach. That's true. I would pick up a couple.
I was a big over the back guy. I got called for some over the back.
I hate the over the back guys. Unbelievable. I like
trying to get a board, man.
I like ZB. You do the let them go by, but then kind of reach with the left and try to poke it. Yeah, that's absolutely a nice one. You get called for that. Sometimes you get the timing down. They should only call what they see there. All right,
absolutely.
I would get called fouls on for too. Was a loose ball, just like recklessly diving into the pile to try to get on top of it. I thought it'd be fine. I thought that would be kosher. Like, no, you can't just dive on the guy to get to the ball, dude.
Yeah, I didn't get near any loose balls. Don't make that a drop. All right. What else we get? I think
all right,
that's
well,
it for the offense.
Let's talk about the defense then. You already
We
sort
need
of
a
said
break
we
or
saw some
no?
different stuff. We'll do the break before we turn our attention
Before we
to
talk about the Bucs.
the Bucs. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I kind of already said what I
fine.
thought about the defense. Now, it was the
Tell me.
best.
Go ahead.
The best defensive performance EPA per play of the week was the Panthers, and the second best defensive performance of the week EPA per play was the Eagles.
Right.
So that kind of tells you.
So tell me, did you think
what
this
kind
was
of game it
on the continuum of good defensive performance versus Sam Darnold throwing the ball away? Which way did you lean a little bit further on?
I mean, I think Sam Darnold had a lot of terrible plays in this game. They did make him uncomfortable. I thought his ZB is a good point from, I don't know if it was last week or before, where, you said basically plan A is for the pass rush to dominate and there is no plan B or C. I mean, that's really what this was, is that, plan A worked pretty well. They got after Sam Darnold. The defensive line played well. I thought Zach's boy, Derek Barnett, easily his best game of the season. I thought Javon Hargrave, Fletcher Cox, those guys played well. Josh Sweat played well. So they really made him feel uncomfortable. He was missing throws. He was making bad decisions. He wasn't seeing the field clearly. So the Panthers offensive line really had a rough go. That was really, I think the story of the game. And then, like I mentioned, they did switch some stuff up, but they pressured Darnold on 54.8% of his dropbacks. That was the second best for any defense last week.
All right.
If I am Matt Rule, I am focusing this offseason on the offensive line. All right, that line is bad, and they haven't done in 2 years. They really haven't done enough there.
Well, they spent an entire draft and didn't pick an offensive player. I mean,
they took Brady Christian. 2 years,
2 years ago.
Yes. Okay.
So, yeah,
Right.
I would agree that they need to address that. And they need to address quarterback too, by the way. You could read if you read my column on the Athletic today, I mean, their offense statistically is pretty much the exact same thing as last year with Teddy Bridgewater, if not a little bit worse. And you gave up a second, a fourth, and a sixth for Darnold. So it's, that move, where again, we're only 5 weeks in, is not really paying off for them.
Before she falls asleep, we should ask if Marissa's more worried about #Marissa's Panthers now than she was a week ago.
I'm definitely not going to fall asleep. And yeah, I am.
You got to rest before the Bachelorette.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I'm actually very worried about my 7.5 over. I was feeling so confident, and
I think you still got a good chance.
Yeah, there's a lot of season left to play, but definitely not as confident I was after those first 3 weeks. That's for sure. Darney needs to step it up.
I mean, when Christian McCaffrey comes back, Darnold.
Yeah, definitely.
Marissa's actual team played like the most entertaining game of the year. I mean, unbelievable.
You can imagine what I was like watching that at the wedding.
Oh my gosh.
So
fun.
So it was, and my friend that is a diehard Ravens fan, I felt like he would understand this, but I kept like turning the stream off because my battery was so low. So like I would like be watching it would go to commercial, I'd close the app, and the mother of the bride was giving a speech. And when I reopened the app, the audio was on.
Oh, that is great.
And literally it's the official going 5-yard penalty. And I'm like, thankfully it was a very big wedding and it was outside, but there are definitely like my table, I'm like getting red thinking about it. My table and definitely like the surrounding tables all heard, and everyone was dying laughing, and
awesome.
I was so embarrassed. I was like, well, I'm just gonna excuse myself
That
right
is so
now.
funny.
I just envisioned you like Lou Brown in Major League, when he's in the hospital and like screaming. Yeah. And they're like, what's going wrong?
Yeah, the end of the game was
CB
a little
breaking
rough,
out the
but
movie reference there.
I like that.
Yes.
yeah, I had to take it back to that one.
Where it's just like
I forget the one line.
No, I
I forget
have
the
seen
one line he
that. I have
has, but
seen
that
it.
is so good when he's super excited. That's not worth even saying.
Yeah.
Before we get to the break, Sheil, since we're focused on the last, looking behind us instead of looking forward, any thoughts on the pod that you need to get off your chest, the post-game pod?
The what?
The post-game pod.
Oh, was that the first thing you said? Any thoughts on the pod? I think it's the Paul. No.
Paul.
I thought Zach did a nice job. Zach, I've never even accomplished this. You had 2 no-sells of Bo's joke about the tweeting the guy with the shirt off. I don't know. I wrote guy with shirt off / game plan.
Yes.
You had a joke about that, right, Bo?
Probably.
And you said
Well,
I don't
well
remember.
my audio was
Beautiful.
going through the AirPods
Yeah.
initially, so I didn't hear the joke the first time.
At first, Zach said he didn't even hear the joke, so he didn't sell
Which
it.
is true.
And then you repeated it, and he still just moved on to something else.
That's
so,
a good
I mean,
move. I like that.
I feel like the when you have kind of the younger guy on the team, and then you realize, well, he might be better than me at some
No,
of this
it's not
stuff.
bad.
That was
It's not bad
like
at all.
one of those moments. Was very proud. I mean, the face shape thing. I mean, the very odd conversation. I don't even know what my comment is. I think it's.
I think I nailed that actually. Thinking back.
Well, I think I'm all for. I feel like we can comment on players like how they're dressed, or if you think someone is very handsome. I feel like you can't determine the shape of your face. I feel like you got to be careful.
But I wasn't
there.
saying anything negative about, except for maybe
Okay.
the square face. But
Yeah.
I wasn't. I was just describing the face. I wasn't.
Okay.
It was neither positive nor negative.
Okay, all right. That's listen. Just trying to make
Okay,
sure
that's fair.
you don't get fired there. Zach, I mean, what was the complimenting Bo on his game watching
Yeah,
skills?
come on. What a
I
minute.
mean,
It
that
is-
was disgusting.
No, it
Give
is.
me a break. I
Sheil,
haven't.
it is true.
I
It is
have a
true.
new
He's
saying
terrific
I
at
want
that.
to implement, and I feel like our audience is really gonna like the results over process. Okay, I'm like
I agree.
I'm tired of hearing process of somebody people telling me how hard they worked on something or how many hours they put it. What Zach? Isn't there a Bill Parcells line about this?
Yes, don't talk about the labor. Just show me the baby.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all in on. I mean,
Which
not
is easy for a
specific-
man to say.
Yeah,
right?
not specific.
If I'm gonna cook the dinner, let me buy the groceries.
But I feel like everybody loves the process over results thing. I want to go opposite now. Just like, did you get the job done or did you not get the job done? I don't need to hear about
think that's fair.
how much time you put in or how I don't even know if that
Oh,
has anything
damn.
to do with the game watching, but apparently when I was taking my notes, I thought about that. Zach,
No,
what was
but
your
it's.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna push back because for instance, like I'm good at like I can read an article and synthesize it quickly, right? Like I don't need to go back and
Flex.
read it 3 times.
Okay.
No, but there's a lot of things when I watch a game, I don't know what happens until I go back and I watch it again. Like there's so much going on, right? Bo is really good
We don't need
at.
this.
Yeah. All right, fine. All right.
I mean,
I was just paying a compliment.
I'm
that's
not
all.
trying to cut you off.
Yeah.
I need to stick to my.
Okay.
Zach, you missed an opportunity when
But
Bo
thank you.
was
That's nice of you to say.
when Bo was going nuts over the Miles Sanders thing. I mean, you really should have just leaned into that boy. So pound of flesh. You could have really turned it on him there. I thought. I feel like you were.
Well,
thinking
here's the
about
thing:
it.
we got to move away from pound of flesh.
Oh, okay. Why?
Pound of flesh. Its
bad.
origin
Oh, okay.
in Shakespeare, a little anti-Semitic. It was brought to my attention.
Oh,
So
okay. All right. So do not do
Oh,
that.
yeah,
Don't get canceled
we're
here.
we're
Yes.
moving away from pound
No,
of flesh.
do not do that.
Yeah.
Marissa, this might be the first time we edit something out here.
No, it's
I didn't know.
it's good to put this
Okay.
out there because
Okay, you have to
I was
explain it to
calling on
others.
the
Yes.
commenters to do it. So,
But you
we
can
need
really
to
go
find
in
a
on
new
him,
phrase.
Zach.
We need to find a new
After
phrase.
the next game, if Miles Sanders does it, are you happy now, Bo? Because he really was giving that to you. Bo,
No, I say this figuratively, of course. Be the bigger man, right?
yeah.
No need to fire back. Be the bigger man.
Zoe Deschanel catching a really unnecessary stray, I thought, from you, Bo.
Just thought of a Z.
You don't like a Zoe Deschanel?
I got nothing
Not
against
a
the
new
Zoe
girl
Deschanel.
fan? Okay.
I love New Girl.
I got nothing
Yeah.
against Zoe Deschanel. I just
Okay.
thought of it as just. I mean, it was late, and I thought of a Z.
I mean, I just thought, she's listening to this somewhere, thinking this used to be my favorite pod, and now they're just coming at me for no
I welcome
reason.
all Zoes.
I'm glad you guys are okay because I was very nervous that elevator situation. I mean, my gosh, I don't know. Like, I really meant to lead the pod with this. I'm surprised you made
You
it here.
poor, yeah.
It looks like you're okay. Because I was really concerned. I usually don't listen to the post game pod until I think usually Tuesday is when I actually listen to the post game pod, and I felt bad that I wasn't able to check on you earlier. Everyone's good.
Well,
I was just talking
emotionally,
about
I'm
getting-
still sort of thinking about it.
I was just getting down for the interviews. That's the only thing I was referring to.
And I did want to know about some of the other weekend, road trip activities. You two don't stay at the same hotel. I mean, what kind
We've
of
got-
camaraderie is
Yeah,
this?
we've got a lot of comments
you
about
have?
this in the
I
chat.
was really
I feel
listening
like
to this.
it's sort of
Yeah.
like off and on. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't.
Really?
So we, I mean, not to get
Oh my
into like
gosh.
specifics here, but we
Jeez,
have
teamwork.
we have like we have a booking platform
Yeah.
that our company needs to use, and depending upon the time that you book, certain hotels
Different rates,
are
different things are acceptable. Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly. So there's restrictions on the hotel. So I, for instance, I think this is fair to say, I tend to book before Bo does, right?
Yes,
I
think
was
that's fair to
just gonna say.
Yeah, Bo's a late booker. So the restrictions that Bo has and the hotels available are often different than the hotels that I have available. So it's like that.
See, back during Birds 24/7, McManus and I, when one
Call
person
me
books,
King Late Booker.
you got to tell the other person right away. You got to build
Same
that
thing.
camaraderie. That way you're at the same hotel. You're spending
Yup.
time together. You're building that chemistry. It makes the work better, makes the pod better, makes the site better. So I feel like you guys need to work on that a little bit.
That's how I've done in the past. It's just the nature of the booking
so
system.
it's a
That's all.
Bo issue.
No, it's not
I
a Bo
like
issue.
throwing him
It's-
under the
it's-
bus.
No, I think it's the internal platform we're using, being compliant within the
Mm.
platform.
It's
So-
a what's it
Well,
called?
it's, yeah, I mean,
Trip
like
actions
for
issue.
instance, like Zach has plans for the Detroit trip that he's gonna go and go somewhere else. So it's not always feasible.
That sounds
so-
kind of shady. I want to go to the Michigan State game that
Very
weekend,
cool.
depending upon the time and depending upon.
You want to get in a rap
battle?
battle?
Now,
My
other question was, did ZB? I hope he got an invite to Resident Culture, Bo.
Zach
my
was
gosh,
visiting a high school
silent.
friend. Zach was having.
That was the okay. So I was
Yeah.
trying to piece it all. I couldn't. So did
Well, my
someone
high school
yell
friends
ZB and the
wanted Bo
Wolf
to
to you
come.
there?
No,
In
that
Charlotte?
was no.
No,
That was
the
him.
John Mulaney
Mulvaney
show.
Yeah.
in Philadelphia.
John Mulaney show.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
No. My friends wanted Bo to come, but I knew Bo had plans in Charlotte. I didn't want to bother.
Okay. Just
And
making
it's also
sure.
this is a
Checking in with each other,
a different
you know?
type of year because
We're
of COVID,
texting
there's
back and
different-
forth. Yeah,
Yes,
I mean,
okay.
we're in
Absolutely.
constant contact.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, this
I-
isn't New York Mets 25
Yeah.
players 25 taxi situation.
I think one of these trips, you guys have to get conjoining rooms and document the whole
I'm not
experience
so
for the
sure
pod.
that's a great idea.
We don't need joining
think-
rooms.
Oh,
but-
why?
I
What's
think
going
that
on
would
in
be
your
a-
hotel room?
I think that would be excellent pod content.
We know Zach's just yelling Roman at us at 6:30 in the morning, but Bo was
I
the
wanna-
first
I
to
just-
shoot that
yeah, I
idea
mean,
down. So
2
I
in the
don't know.
morning. I don't want to be awoken by the sound of Bill Belichick and Nick Saban talking really loudly next to each other. Like, it's just I'd rather get my sleep.
All right. I think
Slumber party.
my other Zach, what did you tweet out today about the T-shirt thing? Why don't you let our listeners know too, in case they can help?
Well, Nick Sirianni, as those who watch press conferences have seen, Nick Sirianni has a lot of different types of T-shirts. He wore a Jeremiah Trotter T-shirt last week. He's worn Donovan McNabb, Miles Sanders, LaShawn McCoy the week before. And he said, you wouldn't believe the amount of T-shirts that get sent to me, right? And he said that, Greg DeLamatros, the equipment manager or the vice president of equipment, right? Is that the term? Greg.
Yeah, sorry, I was shaking
has
my
to-
head because the Brewers popped out a bunt.
Oh, okay. Greg has to do his laundry because I said I wasn't referring to the laundry, but I was referring to like the amount of T-shirts that he has in the closet. I know that if this was the Berman household, my wife would say, you gotta cut those out. You gotta throw those out, right? We don't need Jeremiah Trotter T-shirt in the filling up the closet. So anyway, I put a call out on Twitter. If you're one of these people who have sent T-shirts to Nick Sirianni, can you reach out to me? And
can you send him a Birds with Friends T-shirt?
and the responses that I got have mostly been of the humor variety, right? Like, can you tell, can someone send a shirt that says "Run the ball, Nick"? Things like that.
Well, what I was thinking when I read that was this is one of those where if like a year ago you would have told me on, hey, October 12th, 2021, Zach Berman is going to tweet this. How did, what in the world is happening. Like, during last Eagles season, that Zach is asking if you sent a T-shirt to Nick Sirianni, we would have been like, wait a minute, what in the hell happened over the course of the next year that he's tweeting this out? So that's all. I thought it was a good reminder of that. You guys, all right, you guys are bored. All right, let's move on.
Should we talk Gruden?
I have
Marissa furiously shaking her head.
Yeah. Save that for the post-game pod.
We have a great athletic football show with Tashawn Reed and Vic Tafur that came out today talking all about the John Gruden situation. So you can go download that and get a full breakdown of the
I think our listeners want, I'm reading the comments here. I think the listeners want Bo's talk.
Post-game pod, you're going to have to tune in to the live show to get Bo's official John Gruden take.
All right, that's fine. I'm sure we'll talk about it.
If you want to let it rip,
I'm sure we'll
go
talk
for
about
it
it on ZB and the Wulf as well.
No,
let's discuss that offline. I wasn't sure if that's going to fly or not.
I don't know. We don't. I mean,
is there something you want to get off your chest?
This is not like, it's not like the Urban thing where it's funny to just point and laugh.
That's why I feel like it doesn't fit ZB and the Wulf.
Well, I think there's a way. I think there's a way to do it, but that we can get to that a different time. It just sort of the whole thing is a little bit nauseating. The way that the Raiders have probably had these emails for a while, and it takes for them getting public for something to happen. The way that it exposes that this is just like the way that normal business is done in a lot of places. And I just, you think about like the black players in the Raiders locker room, or like Carl Nassib or whoever, these guys who have to deal with the fact that like this guy who was in charge of me, was like my coach for a long time, was like, this is the way that he thinks. It's gross. The whole thing is gross, and like further makes the sport look gross. So I don't know.
I don't think it's a reflection of the sport. I think it's a reflection of
a large majority of the culture within the sport. I do.
Okay. Yeah. But like, I'm not repulsed by football, I mean, by no means am I just take objection to that last part. Like, I don't think this is perhaps there's a problem, a culture problem among, certain people within football, but I don't think this is like a problem with football as a sport, or, those
I didn't mean to say if that's how, but I think the culture of the sport is rotten. So, I mean, you can paper over, like, put end racism in the end zones. And, it's like the Glazers canceling Gruden from the Ring of Honor is like, okay, that's good. But like, let's look at the Glazers, and I don't know. It's just, I don't have anything really to say that hasn't already been said. It's just sort of I mean, and you think about like, why is it that it's so hard for minorities to get into positions of power in the league? And, Bruce Allen is sending all this stuff. And obviously, like, yes, the league not releasing any of the other findings from their investigation is such hypocrisy. It is bizarre that this is the only guy who's getting in trouble from that, is someone who's not even affiliated with the organization. I don't know. Whatever. Listen to the conversation.
Listen to Tashawn and Vic.
Tashawn
was doing a good job pushing John Gruden during this over the last week, and Vic knows that organization inside and out for a long time. So I look forward to listening to that.
All right, let's take a little break, and then we will talk about the Bucs, get into Swooper Soarcasting. It's a long episode. We got to get moving.
This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Check out BetterHelp.com/BWF. Life is full of stressors. It doesn't matter who you are or what you have. Life is probably stressful. It could be a relationship that you're in. It could be a busy time at work. It could be your kids or your family. You may not be feeling down and out and depressed or like you're at a total loss, but if your stress is high, your temper is shorter than usual, or even if you're starting to feel strain in any of your relationships, you could probably use a chance to unload the stress and just get it out. Talk to someone completely unbiased about your life, someone who's not going to judge you or take sides on anything. When there are things you can't tell anyone or feel like you can't unload the family or friends and you need to unload it, that's what therapy can be. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Unload the stressors and get some unbiased feedback. You'd be pretty surprised at what you might gain from it. See if it's for you. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and Birds with Friends listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/BWF. That's BetterHelp.com/BWF.
It's no secret. We talk about this all the time on Birds with Friends, right? Finding the motivation to work out and eat healthy it's tough. Who's got the time? You need some help. Well, guess what? MyFitnessPal is here to help you. And I know I also thought it was just for counting calories, but MyFitnessPal actually teaches you about nutrition and fitness habits and helps you create new ones that stick. What's more motivating than that? MyFitnessPal is not a rigid diet plan. Instead, you gradually learn from personalized data what works for you. And if your version of healthy looks different from mine or someone else's, that's okay. The whole point is helping you find the best path to your goals. Even better is a MyFitnessPal premium membership. I have one now, and I get custom tools and expert guidance to help me reach my personal health goals my way. App customization lets you choose the right settings to help you meet your individual goals. So if you're into macro tracking, low carb, heart health, etc., you can stick to it more easily. Premium's deeper nutritional insights help you discover which foods fuel you best. And with MyFitnessPal, you're not going it alone. You have access to guided daily workout and meal plans written by dietitians and exercise scientists. Plus, support from other members with shared goals and experiences. MyFitnessPal does way more than just count calories. Get the support you need to meet your health goals. Unlock all the amazing things MyFitnessPal can do, like I did. Start your premium membership today. Go to bwf.myfitnesspal.com and use code BWF to get a 1-month premium membership for free. That's BWF.MyFitnesspal.com. Use code BWF for a free 1-month premium membership. bwf.myfitnesspal.com. Get started, baby.
Bo, we can't hear
You're
you.
mute, Bo. You're muted. Not you.
Oh, he can hear us. All right.
He
we
can hear
take
us.
over.
We had this
Yes.
issue when he started, so we'll get him
The
back up.
Buccaneers.
I feel like should we? I was gonna say we should skip the breakdown and just go straight to the Soarcasting and discuss the
without
Buccaneers
Bo?
during that. But yeah,
Okay.
no,
Now
can't
we're
hear you.
still missing you, Bo.
Okay, keep this in, Marissa. All right, we can go over the Bucs really quickly here. ZB. I mean, I feel like people are very familiar with the Bucs. They did win the Super Bowl last year, and they brought back the entire team. So you're not seeing a lot of changes. There is some, injury news with this game. Levante David, their longtime veteran linebacker, he is not going to play in this game. I think Antoine Winfield, I think, is like questionable. Is that right? We don't know yet, right? Whether he's going to play.
Correct.
Standout safety. They lost a couple corners earlier this year. Carlton Davis, Sean Murphy Bunting.
Yep.
So they're going with Jamel Dean, and then Richard
Richard
Sherman
Sherman.
will be starting.
Your old
at the-
friend.
My old friend.
He gave you a
Ross-
good tweet when you left. Yeah.
That's right. Ross Cockrell, veteran sort of journeyman slot corner, is their third cornerback there. So listen, that's the Bucs. They're loaded. They're on the short list of Super Bowl favorites. Tom Brady has been outstanding. He did have a thumb injury that he's dealing with, but the Athletic beat writer Greg Allman had a good nugget that after Brady suffered that injury, Zach. He was 15 for 18 for 182 yards and 3 touchdowns. He completed his last 12 passes of the game. So if you're wondering whether it's going to be an issue for him or not, no, I don't think that's going to be an issue. Are you surprised that the Eagles are only, I don't know if it's only or not, but they're at home, but only 7-point favorites in this game? I mean, 7-point underdogs. Sorry.
Yeah. Yes. If they were 7-point favorites, that would really surprise me. So, I thought the line might push
Can you hear
double
me?
digits.
Yes.
Yes, we can now. I thought the line might push double digits. That said, I think the Eagles coming off a win, being at home, short week perhaps, but it does not look good. The other thing to keep in mind, Todd Bowles, a veteran coordinator, has been known in the past to be a big blitzing guy. Eagles have a banged up offensive line, a young quarterback. I'm curious to see how much the blitz hurts in this game. And then I think you hit it on the head too when talking about the Bucs cornerback situation. If you're looking for a week for the Eagles to run the ball, I'd be surprised if it happens this week. Tampa Bay has an outstanding run defense. The weakness of that defense right now, at least personnel-wise, is at cornerback where they're banged up. My guess is this looks closer to the Kansas City game in terms of the offensive approach from the Eagles than, say, a run the ball, slow it down type approach.
I think Hayden Winks from Underdog has tweeted about this, how like the opposing pass rate against the Bucs is like teams aren't even trying to run against them, partly because they're so injured in the secondary that they're just throwing.
Yep.
You see a paid advertiser? I feel like he's your new Ed Fang. This might be Hayden Winks.
You think so? He's got good charts.
Zach, right? He's getting a lot of love during Birds.
I mean, we know Josh Norris is an occasional listener, so he's the one who's really in our favor.
There you go. Bo, I was saying we should just do Soarcasting and we can talk about the game during that. I mean, I think that's people, fine. I think people know the Bucs are pretty good and who their star players are.
Yeah. I mean,
wait, so real quick though,
they got Tom Brady.
Just one matchup.
Short week. We don't have to
watch in particular is that for those who have followed Jason Kelce's whole career, which I imagine is most of our listeners, his weakness, if there is one, are these really big, like strong nose tackle types,
a
right?
Linval Joseph type.
Yes, and they don't get much bigger than Vita Vea. Am I pronouncing it correctly? Vita Vea.
Vita Vea.
Yeah, Vea. So this is going to be a real tough matchup for Kelce in the middle of that line.
Yeah, I feel sometimes the film hipsters go overboard with some of these guys.
Tyson Alualu.
But Vita Vea is a bad man. Like he will have highlight level plays where you just watch and are like, holy cow, look at what he did to this other very large human being. And it's not just, he definitely is a run stuffer, but like their pass rush, there will be plays where he is just knocking over the Eagles guards, and whether he finishes with the sack or the quarterback hit, I don't know, but he is awesome. Yeah, and you're right. I mean, and if you're going to run the ball, you don't run up the middle against this team. I mean, if ever there were a week to get her, like I said, Hurts, bootlegs, move the pocket, quarterback sweeps, you have to get outside. They don't have Levante David, so Devin White is a very fast linebacker, but they don't have Levante David as their other linebacker. So you just, any run up the middle is pretty much a fail against Vita Vea and Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah, Jack Driscoll head over Vita Vea is
oh my gosh,
not a pretty
I'm like
sight,
nervous for those guys. Whew. Jack Driscoll Landon Dickerson on a bum ankle going up.
But at least Landon Dickerson's got some heft to him,
Yeah, that's
I like
true.
Jack Driscoll, but at guard, that's the kind of player who's going to give him trouble. So yeah, could be ugly. All right, Marissa, are we ready?
We're ready.
So just to reset here, Zach, of course, held on to 17 turkeys last week. So he has 41. Sheil has 27. I have 24. Sheil has taken an early commanding lead. He has 3.5 points. Zach and I have 5/6 of a point.
Yeah, my other question, my pod comment was going to be like, should this be the last Soarcasting? I mean,
I think
don't even
once you clinch,
I don't
we
even
can
try,
stop,
and I'm
but-
dominating. So it's kind of like boring. It's like when Mahomes does like the underhand. That's kind of what this feels like for me. We know Dennis, we learned, is not even a fan of this game. I thought we were just doing it for Dennis. Marissa can't enjoy this. We know Zach is like the low light of his entire week, and so I'm just wondering, has it maybe it's reached its conclusion, and we need to come up with another
How about
game.
this? If you get to a 5-week lead,
Okay.
then Dennis can come up with a new game.
Oh, I'm sure he's very happy. All right. I don't know if I trust him. Like Zach again I thought did a good job there calling that out in the post game pod. Yeah, I don't know that I would trust Dennis to come up with the
Well, I
game.
mean,
The chat says they love it. The sickos enjoy it, and
the
they like to
sickos
be
enjoy it.
involved. Yeah.
They
Well,
do.
here's
That's
the thing. We can't make decisions based on the sickos. The sickos are going to be here regardless. So with all due
True.
respect, thank you. We appreciate your support, but we need to get those like the fringe viewers and listeners. We need to reel them in.
How
All
about
right.
we give it till Thanksgiving with the turkeys?
Hmm.
Let me see.
Very turkey forward. Nice.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right.
All right. You ready to get this started?
And yes, as you alluded to, if the Eagles lose this game, another point in the Crystal Bald Eagle prediction for me, because the Eagles win week 1 and go 2-4.
What's that? A 7?
Yeah, that's a crazy 7.
That's one of the most outrageous rulings like I've ever
You guys
heard.
didn't predict it?
2-4. Wow. If you would have said 0-6 or like 6-0, then fine. We'll give it a 7.
It's
2
pretty
and
good
4,
to nail it.
I mean, who cares? Really? There were like 3 options basically: 3-3, 2-4, or 1-5. You had a 33% chance to get this right.
Plus the win
And
in
it's
week
7.
1. Nobody knew the Falcons were going to be this bad.
If you would have said 2-4 and John Gruden's not the coach when the Eagles go to Las Vegas, now
I mean,
that
it's
would have
very
been
difficult to believe that Urban after last week was not the first head coach fired. But all right.
We got a comment from Matt in the chat that says, I don't bet, I don't do fantasy football. I need something to watch. So, he likes the swoopers. So
Matt in the chat is a great handle.
yeah. Well, it's Mad PD, but we're going to change his name to Matt in the chat.
Matt in the
Okay.
chat.
So I think the only way to start Swooper Soarcasting this week is Tom Brady greets Jalen Hurts for longer than 5 seconds after the game.
All right, we need
5
seconds is
Mississippis. 5
Okay,
Mississippis.
what counts as a greet? They certainly don't have to be touching for that long.
No,
Like
but a
talking.
Face to
conversation.
face. Okay.
Yeah, it has to be a conversation or
Okay.
some interaction.
Longer than 5 seconds. Well, I don't know how long is a typical. I don't know how long a typical.
Yeah, 5
conversation
seconds is
It doesn't
is
seem
long.
that long. You think that is long? No.
No, I
think
don't think
Brady
it's usually the last 5
a
seconds.
brush off. I'll say 1 turkey.
Yeah.
I'll go 2.
I'll go 3. He's a 40 he has wisdom to share with Jalen.
But is
Longer
he
than
willing to?
5. So 5.1 counts, right? You don't have to get
Correct.
to 6.
Yes,
Mhm.
but
Marissa,
5
you're
doesn't
going to
count.
be the
5 on
official
the dot
timer of
does
this.
not
I
count.
will
Or
use
Dennis.
my stopwatch. Yeah.
Okay.
Or Dennis.
Where are we at
Honestly,
here?
probably
Now,
Dennis.
okay, well, hold on. When does the greeting begin? That's up to Marissa. It's
When a word is said or
a touch is made.
body parts
Yes.
touch.
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So you
All right,
sound,
so
like,
that's
you
three.
sound like the
All right.
door monitor at Notre Dame.
Okay, Zach, are you at 3?
I'm at 3.
I'll go 4.
I just skipped right over that.
It took me a while. I didn't know where we were with that.
Okay, Sheil 4. Do I hear 5? I agree. The
5.
truth in the chat says this will be dependent on winning or losing. We all know if Brady loses, there's no way 5 seconds happens.
5.
Do I hear 6?
I'm out.
Going
Yeah,
once?
Zach. I mean, that's a good value for you with 41 turkeys to spend, but I don't
Sold.
think it's happening. Brady's going to brush him off.
Sold to Zach for 6. All right.
6 or 5?
Six.
Was it 6?
5.
No, 5.
5.
Oh,
So
okay.
he's at 36 turkeys.
How do you know Jalen won't brush him off?
Well, good for
You keep
him.
putting
then.
this on the jersey.
All right. Sold to Zach for 5. Next. Zach Ertz scores a touchdown.
1.
3.
4.
5.
6.
7.
Ho, big spender. No thanks.
Sold to Bo. Zach,
All right.
no, you don't want in?
I actually like that one, but I don't want to use 12 turkeys in the first 2.
After the last time you went really heavy with 41 turkeys. So, Understandable. Okay. Next. Multiple Eagles players' coaches will reference how quickly Tom Brady got rid of the ball during post-game media availabilities.
All right, so we got to clarify several things here. Multiple means only 2?
Yeah, more than one.
Okay, and it has to be during the podium sessions.
Yes.
Okay.
So quick
now-
comment here. Bo can't win this because if Bo wins this, he is definitely asking multiple players how quickly did Tom Brady get rid of the ball.
That's what I mean.
Okay?
It can't be a direct. All right.
So
This
one
is
of
my
us,
question.
one of us can't be the ones to do it.
Or it
Yeah,
can't be a
you-
direct question. It can't be
It
a direct
can't be a
question.
direct question.
Yes.
Marissa will be the judge.
Okay.
I mean, if you
okay.
say something like, you know, you guys
what
didn't
did he
get-
do to, you know?
Yeah.
What? How are they able to avoid the pass rush tonight? I don't know.
Yeah, that's why. I
This is a
trust
little
Marissa.
shady.
No, I trust Marissa. Yeah.
Because Bo's not beyond asking a question to win.
If it feels like you're
No.
really leading him into it, then it's not gonna, and it's
Am I?
your thing.
Well, let me ask this: am I allowed to ask somebody else to ask the question?
No, definitely not. I would
All
say
right.
that's cheating.
Yeah. Let's see who wins this, and
But
then
are we
can-
allowed to
And
cheat?
then we can make the rules. No, you're not allowed to cheat.
1. Is multiple just more than 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And a combination of players, coaches. It doesn't have to be
Right. It can't. If
players
it's the same.
or two
It can't be
coaches.
the same person twice. Who says
And
it
what
twice.
what constitutes a reference?
Oh gosh.
This is
He
a
was
very,
he was getting rid of the ball fast. He was getting rid of the ball quickly.
Okay.
You know, when you face Tom, the ball's going to come out really quickly. Anything like that counts.
Do I hear 2? I think Zach
Two.
started
Two.
sitting at 1. Okay.
I'll go
3.
2.
3.
4. How many people talk after a game?
Not as many. That's the thing.
Well,
And
the
a
defensive
loss.
coordinator doesn't talk.
Yeah.
And like, how many? Especially if they get killed on defense, how many defensive guys are going to talk? I don't know.
Yeah, it will just be like Slay and Alex Singleton. So,
All right, I'm at 4.
I'm out.
Right? I think I'm at 4.
That sounds
Yeah.
right to me.
I thought you were at 3, but okay.
Oh, was it 3?
If you said you were at 4, you're willing to go to 4.
I don't know about
Zach,
that.
are you going to go to 5?
I don't think the Eagles are going to race
Oh
defensive
no,
players
I
out
think
there
I was
after
at
giving up 40
I was
plus
at
points.
3 and seeing if Zach was going to go to 4.
Yeah.
Is that right, Zach?
Where I said 1.
No. Well,
I
if
know.
Zach said
We've
1, then you
spoken-
said
we
you said
spoke
4.
after that, Zach.
Yeah, but if no, that helps
Yeah.
though, because if he said 1,
Yeah.
you said 2, he said 3, you said 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
I
You
think
don't know
this
if I-
just
All
this
right.
just shows our level
The
of
chat says Sheil was at 4.
okay.
Okay.
We'll trust the chat.
All right.
All right, sold.
Sheil's got it, right? Okay.
Show's got.
Okay. A quarterback is targeted as a pass catcher.
Mm.
Little Super
Bowl
Bowl redemption
reference.
for Brady.
Yeah, do you think Brady's asking them to put something in so he can he referenced it
He
already?
made his little
earlier this
joke,
season.
yeah.
Nah, he's played in Philly since then.
And if you're the Eagles, I feel like you got to break out, a lot of tricks in this game. You can't just play it straight. Aggressive
don't know.
defense, inexperienced cornerbacks.
That's fair.
I'll say
Well,
1.
Too rich for my.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants it.
No,
but,
I'll go 2. I'll take it for 2.
I think Ciriani threw that play away after
yeah, I don't think Ciriani's going back to that bad boy. Okay.
Sold to Sheil for 2.
Oh, okay.
Bargain. All
Yeah, I
right.
mean, a 2 is always nice.
Okay. Bruce Arians throws his headset after a bad penalty or play.
Is this a thing he's known to do?
Well, he's got sort of the fanny pack type thing.
Yeah,
with
that's what I'm
his,
gonna say. It makes it harder to put it back on, right? So
Yeah, so I guess he does. It doesn't have to hit the ground.
Yeah.
It's very stylish. It's
Frustration with the headset. We will say.
I don't know. That's a little bit too loose.
It's got to come off his head, and he's got to.
Yeah.
No, it's his throw. He
It's
can
his
still
throw.
throw it. I mean, I'll take it for one.
No,
Going
yeah, something
once.
for one,
Going twice.
2.
Oh. All right. Do I hear
Take
3?
it.
Bo's got it. Bo's still gonna
Right.
watching the game. Now he'll watch Arians too.
Okay. The game's leading receiver is on the Eagles.
1,
2,
3,
4.
What a demure 4, 5.
How many more left do we have after this?
6.
Hopefully,
We have
not
6
a lot.
left. I'll go 6.
Do I hear 7? Going once. Going twice.
7.
For our audio listeners, ZB just had a great reaction to that. Pure frustration.
Yeah, I gotta work my body language again. Sorry. 8.
Do I hear 9?
You got it at 8, unless Shield's going in.
No, Sheil's falling asleep.
Some
Okay.
Devontae Smith garbage time points or yards rather.
All right. This
I
one.
have 15 turkeys. Zach has 28 turkeys. Shield has 21 turkeys.
Okay, this is a
turkey.
chat submission because everyone loved the pylon last week so much. So this is
What a
along
disappointment that was.
this is along similar lines. A player gets hit with a flag, like actually hit with the flag.
1.
I'm out.
I'm out.
Okay.
So sold to Bo. So for
I
all
think they're very cognizant of that now after the incident a decade ago in Baltimore.
They're very cognizant of it now that a decade has passed.
No, like ever since then. So
Yeah.
all right, well, we'll require the sickos to be watching for that one, just like the pylon cam.
No, I think this happened just recently, right?
Oh, really?
I think it's happened in the game.
I
this
mean,
year.
this is it's not
All
going
right.
to happen, but I won.
Next.
Okay. A Penn State product scores a touchdown.
Oh, Chris Godwin.
So
Miles
Godwin and Miles
Sanders.
yeah.
Is that it?
2.
3,
4,
5,
6,
7.
8.
I think I got that 8 in.
You
That was
definitely didn't. You have something, man. You
Marissa?
do this every time.
That sounded
was
like a
clearly
pure
me.
tie to me.
All right, I'll go 9.
Doesn't matter. 9.
I'll-
Okay.
Ooh,
Ooh.
Zach.
Big spender.
All right,
10.
who's going 10? Oh,
Wait, did Sheil get the 9 or did I get the 9?
I did.
Am I?
no, I thought Zach did.
Oh my God, believe
All right, so
you're
I
All
have
right,
it.
but he already
No,
bid
no.
10.
No.
so-
I wanted for 9, not 10. Yeah.
10.
Oh.
Oh. 11.
Yeah, chat. Oh, some people say Zach got 9. Some people say Sheil got 9. So, but ZB pushing it to 11. All right, who's going 12?
Do it, Bo, just to see the reaction.
I do really want to just to see the reaction.
Going once. Going twice. Sold to ZB for 11.
Wow.
All right.
Chris Godwin coming home, basically. Right? So he's
This was Zach's
was-
submission.
he was born in Philly, went to Delaware. I'm sorry, grew up in Delaware, went to Penn State.
I don't know why that was so funny.
point is that Godwin's gonna have a good game. Godwin's gonna have a good game. Miles Sanders.
This is not
could
a
get-
wrestling show. They're not booking him for his homecoming. Like,
I think coaches are more cognizant of that than you think.
Okay.
there's a good chance he scores a touchdown.
Next.
Okay. I thought this was a very interesting one. The parlay of Eagles +7 and under 52.5 points hits.
That's interesting.
We have not had a
Yeah.
swooper like this. Yes.
2.
You see, the parlay part of it makes it challenging, right? Because you need both to hit here.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Chris Godwin coming home.
This is
I'll
basically a
go
homecoming for Chris
3.
Godwin. I'll say 4.
How many more do we have?
3 after this.
Do I hear 5?
Nah, I don't like it that much.
Zach?
I'm staying away from this. I bid. I went above my budget on the previous one. So.
Okay. All right. Sold to Bo for 4. Right?
Mhm.
Okay.
And if I see the question here, what if 7 pushes? Then you don't win the bet.
You're
Correct.
gonna win the bet.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. Troy Aikman will reference his time as a visiting player in Philly. Can be an anecdote or observation, but cannot be about playing the Eagles. Must be about playing in Philly. Marissa makes call.
1.
This is mine. So if he says like, if he says like, oh man, I remember one time, Reggie White just planted me into the turf. That doesn't count. If he's talking about at the vet, it's gonna be something in Philadelphia, some story.
Now, does it have to be related to him? So let's say the Eagles have a stinker of a first half and they're booed on their way to the locker room, and Troy Aikman said, "Oh, that's how it is in Philly." That doesn't count.
No.
It has to be.
Yeah, it has to be about his time as a visiting player in Philly. I feel like he likes to tell these stories about what it was like for him playing in Philadelphia.
1.
I tried to say 1, but I guess I got cut off.
Do I hear 2?
Can you hear me though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I didn't hear you say 1 though.
I thought
I'll
you were
say
just
2.
joking. I thought like you were making a joke that you
I'll
said
say
it.
2.
I'll go 3.
Do I hear 4? Going once. Going twice.
4.
Oh,
Dog. For the viewers out there and the listeners, I did want to inquire. I wasn't able to pull it off, but take notice of Troy's sort of giggles and laughs this year. I really feel like he's taken it next level. A lot of cackling during these broadcasts. I thought, all right, I'm out.
Bo, do I hear 5?
Zach's got it. He's going to win this
All
week, I
right.
think.
Sold to ZB for 4. Okay.
Who
The
left?
first Eagles play on offense is a rush by a running back. Talked a lot about the running game.
3.
Oof.
4.
Do I hear 5? Zach, you look like you're brewing over there.
5. Can you hear me?
Yep,
Yeah.
5 for Bo.
Gotcha.
5. Okay. Well, I keep.
Do I
going
hear
in and out here.
6?
I don't like any of them this week.
Sold to Bo for 5.
Oh, that is a big one.
All right. Last one. The Eagles recover a fourth quarter Tom Brady fumble.
1.
2.
Going once. Going
Three.
twice.
3.
I heard you.
How many are left after this?
This is it.
Oh, this is it?
Mhm.
Oh, man. I guess I'll go 4.
I'm pretty sure Bo is frozen.
Yeah, Bo,
Oh,
you're
he's
frozen.
back. He's back. Okay.
Is that a 5?
No.
Sheil
No.
just bid 4.
Okay.
Zach?
I am staying away from this one.
All right. Sold to Sheil for 4. Very cheap week on Swooper Soarcasting.
Yeah, I got a lot of leftover turkeys, I feel.
A lot of turkeys being carried over this week. If I don't
Okay.
freeze, I'll quickly run down here what we got. Sheil has multiple people after the game, players and coaches.
Oh, he did freeze. So we will
Okay, good.
check
All right, you
Twitter,
guys
and
just close
Dennis
the
will
show.
have a full recap
Okay.
of
Well-
each pick.
Bo, do you want to text us your prediction to go on the record?
Sure.
Okay.
Or you want to fire it in real quickly before you freeze?
I'll text you.
No. Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. ZB, do you have a prediction?
Yeah, so I think this is gonna be a tough game for the Eagles, right? So that's a Captain Obvious statement. I get it, but I've said in recent weeks that the Eagles are going to do well this year against mediocre or middling quarterbacks or inferior quarterbacks. I think they're really going to struggle against top quarterbacks. Tom Brady's top quarterback. I think that similar to the Chiefs game, similar to the Cowboys game, they're not going to be able to keep pace with this team. So, I can see the Eagles having a better offensive performance than they did last week. I can see them moving the ball better through the air, not like they did against Kansas City, but closer to Kansas City than they did against Carolina. That said, I just think the Bucs are the superior team, and it's going to show on Thursday night. I am going Tampa Bay 35, Philadelphia 24.
Okay, I see it similarly. I think you're right, especially defensively. I think against mediocre, bad teams, they can certainly hold their own. But against the top offenses, which we've seen with the Chiefs and the Cowboys, they're going to get lit up. I think, certainly the Bucs would be in that group. Bucs have a very good offensive line, so this is going to be different than last week. I haven't seen any examples of them being able to sort of scheme anything up defensively to give them a big edge. So if it's just player versus player, I think that's going to be really tough for them. The Bucs just, they are a step on your throat type team. They'll just be throwing the football from start to finish. They don't care what the score is, and they will just be piling it on. We saw that last week. Other side of the ball, it's just a tough matchup for the Eagles. I think their offensive line going up against that defensive line, it's not going to be pretty. Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni against whatever Todd Bowles is cooking, that's going to be tough also. I think it could get very ugly in this game. I feel like you have to find ways to steal points, whether it's a trick play, whether it's something on special teams, whether it's an unscouted blitz on third down. Not that it will be something that Tom Brady has never seen. You got to get a little bit lucky with some turnover luck. But I think it's going to be Tampa Bay 34, Eagles 20. So a similar ballpark of what you have, but a little bit bigger win for the Bucs. Is Bo back to get?
Is he back? But he did send it to me. So there's a lot of pressure in here. I think I should probably scan this before I start reading it aloud.
Yeah, definitely. Don't give fair
Okay.
fire.
He says, if the Eagles are going to have a chance against the Bucs at home on a short week, is a good opportunity. If the Eagles are going to have a chance against the Bucs at home on a short week, is a good. I don't think
A short week.
As
Opportunity.
As good
any.
of an opportunity as any. The Bucs are injured, and maybe Tom Brady's, I'm going to say trainer. Bo used another adjective to describe the trainer. Maybe Tom Brady's trainer didn't get his. I can't even.
You don't have to read this. Yeah, Bo, what are you doing? If it's anything,
Bo's trying to get me in trouble.
Yeah, Bo, you say it. We can hear you. Get it out.
said maybe Tom Brady's shady trainer didn't get his shipment in this week. That's fine.
Okay, go ahead.
Just
Continue.
a possibility.
We can hear you.
I think it has a chance to be potentially closer than people expect with a backdoor cover, but I'm not going to predict that, given that the Eagles are going to go vanilla on defense against this offense. Bucs 35, Eagles 23.
Is that the exact same score Zach picked or no?
I had 35-24. So Bo has more field goals, or he has a missed extra point in there.
Okay.
I'm really glad Bo unfroze for that one because that was a lot of pressure, putting some words in my mouth.
Hashtag, there's a hashtag cancel Marissa.
Yeah. I was like so flustered because I could see other
gosh.
words. Like I could see shipment and shady in there. And I
Oh
was
my
like getting all
gosh.
messed up.
Unbelievable.
I mean,
All
those
right.
things are very fair to say.
So again, watch the game Thursday night. Stick with it till the end. If it's a blowout, do something else in the fourth quarter. See what Nick Sirianni has to say with Zach and Bo peppering him about Tom Brady getting rid of the ball quickly. And then click on the link. YouTube will be right here waiting for you with instant reaction.
And Sheil will answer your questions, right, Sheil?
That's right. We're going to need those questions. Keep
Yes.
it moving.
All right. That'll do it for this episode of Birds with Friends. Thanks for listening. For Zach, Sheil, and Marissa, I'm Bo. And as always, we love you.